What's up, man? This is a recording from the Menprovement podcast. To see all podcasts, go to menprovement.com, the #1 self-improvement resource strictly for men. And while you're there, get a copy of your free ebook, How to Triple Your Testosterone Naturally. See the links below for more information and enjoy.
Ready to take your life to the next level? Then you're in the right place. Get all the information you need to be better, improve everything, and live life like a pro. This is the Menprovement Podcast with Sean Russell.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the show. This is the Menprovement Podcast, and I'm your host, Sean Russell. I'm the CEO of Menprovement.com, bringing you daily self-improvement, whether it be from our own in-house experts or linking to the best in self-improvement for men from around the web. There's no bullshit, no mainstream nonsense like Men's Health or all that other crap. It's just purely self-improvement and how to become the best man you can be. Check it out. Subscribe at our website, menprovement.com, and you'll get a free self-improvement starter kit, including a free guide on how to triple your testosterone naturally. We've had a bunch of shows on the Menprovement Podcast, probably most of the shows on the Menprovement Podcast, about meeting and attracting women. You know, we've talked with Kezia, we've talked with Marnie, and we've learned some incredible stuff. But the more and more that I learn about this stuff, the more I go towards not pick up, essentially, in layman's terms. What I'm saying is that when I first started learning how to talk to women and attract women into my life, I was like most people. I started with the book, The Game. I started watching pickup videos and learning techniques and all this stuff. And then it all started to become very unauthentic and just cheesy, essentially. And the more I get into it and talk to people like Kezia and Marnie, and it starts to become more about becoming a fulfilled guy and learning to follow your purpose and be truly the kind of guy that women want to be with rather than just tricking them with lines and gimmicks. And then I started to get into daygame.com, and they're all about being authentic and straight up honest and telling the girl, hey, I think you're beautiful and I want to date you. And then I started to get into RSD, which goes into even deeper about becoming an incredible man and starts to talk about meditation and all these things and all these universal truths and how they help you with women and how to not be, you know, a pickup guy who just uses lines and he's not really an incredible guy. He just knows tricks. And that's not the kind of guy I want to be, even if it can get me laid. So going even further into this, I stumbled across someone named John Cooper. And when I saw his initial YouTube video, which I'm going to link to in the show notes of this show at menprovement.com, I knew immediately that I resonated with what John taught and that I had to get him on the show to pick his brain and learn from him and give you guys the opportunity to hear what he has to say. Essentially, John takes it even further than RSD to a level of meeting women that is truly all about being 100% fulfilled with who you are, playful, free from outcome dependence with women, and a guy who can just fully give himself to the world without expecting anything in return and essentially attracting everything into his fun bubble and his incredible life. And that to me is what it's all about. So in this podcast, we're going to talk to John Cooper from thejohncooper.net about his new way of looking at dating and meeting women, and he calls it social heartistry. And it's because it's coming from the heart. And when you get to this level, there's no more approach anxiety. There's no more approaches. There's just authentic giving from the heart and enjoying your life and having women flock to you as a byproduct to that. So this show was truly, truly awesome. And I'm excited for you guys to hear it because when combined with last week's show on how to increase your self-confidence, you can take incredible, massive action towards becoming this type of guy today. And if you haven't listened to last week's show, I consider it a prerequisite to today's show. It was with Dan, a confidence coach, and it was all about how to increase your social confidence and general confidence, and it was truly amazing and actionable. So if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it now. A quick word to our sponsors, ownonly.com, a custom online suit retailer. And what you do is you go on ownonly.com and you pick out a suit you want for around $300. Then you follow their video tutorials on how to take your measurements, and in about 20 minutes you get all your measurements, you input them, and you fully customize your suit. And 2 weeks later, for free shipping, you have a beautiful suit coming in the mail with a high duty hanger, a lint brush, a USB, and a bunch of other cool stuff. And you're steps ahead of all other guys. It's that simple. And I'm so glad to have Own Only as a sponsor, because I know that they can improve your life, because having a custom suit will take your style and the way you look to the next level. And this is important stuff. So check out ownonly.com. Use the checkout code Menprovement if you see something you like, and you'll get 30% off your order. That's OWNONLY.com. I want to jump right into this show today because it's so valuable and it's so mind expanding. And for anyone who wants to just be a better guy, even if you don't want to be better with women, I think you should listen to this podcast anyway. And if you want to be better with women, then this is a game-changing podcast. This is how to be a social artist, how to give freely, live freely, let go of need and outcome dependence, and attract women, love, happiness, money, and whatever you want towards you, like the sun, with John Cooper. What's up, guys? I'm here today with John Cooper from thejohncooper.net. He's a coach, and essentially he helps guys get women, but in a very unique way. What's up, John? Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, so I stumbled upon you very recently, and I've watched a few of your videos, and I absolutely love what you teach, but why don't you, what do you do? Like, what would you describe as your job, and how'd you get here?
Okay, so like I had a similar route in that most guys do that get into pickup, right? So my whole thing was got dumped by the love of my life, had a trauma, and on the back of that trauma, went to the bookshop, found the book The Game, which we all probably know about. Not go into that if you haven't, just look it up. And from that book, I got really deep into it, and I thought, if I can't have the love of my life, I'm going to get any girl, any time, any place, because that's what I thought would happen if I got deeper into it. And I thought if I learn, more and more control methods and techniques, then I'll be able to control any woman into bed as long as I got good enough at it. So I thought, bloody hell, I'm going to get really deep into this. And what was happening was I would go into a restaurant and I'd basically sit down with every girl on every table and I'd be palm reading them. Or I'd be on the top deck of a bus and I'd go and get numbers off every single girl on the top deck of the bus. So from the outside, people were going, John, man, you're sick. You got it, man. Like, you're incredible. You're amazing. You're a pickup artist. I was like, yep, I'm a pickup artist. But what was happening was I was doing this for 3 or 4 months, and I was thinking, I know enough theory now that I can go and teach this to other people. Like, literally, I knew every breakdown of every single technique. But then I thought to myself, but hang on a minute. Like, apart from the odd bumbling lay on a night out, I'm not actually connecting with any of these girls. And really, for the amount of hundreds of girls that I'm approaching, like nothing's really manifesting from it. And it was like a splinter in my mind. Something was up with that. And I thought, no, I just need to push through more pickup companies, more pickup boot camps, more pickup theory. And then a friend of mine said to me, John, you were better before with girls than you are now. I went, no. He goes, John, think about it. You used to run your own parties, you used to talk to hundreds of girls on your night out, but you were never approaching them. You were just doing your thing, and you used to attract to women every week. I was like, you're right. He says, right, John, this is what I want you to do. I want you to take everything you've learned in pickup, put it in a box, put it to one side, and just get out there and just go back to being the fun, cool club promoter guy that's just enjoying the night, enjoying the music. And he's still talking to girls, but he doesn't come from that place of control. And I said, whoa. I can't do that, man. I need to be in control. How else am I going to acquire these women? How else am I going to get laid? He says, bingo. That's the whole point. You can never be good with a woman until you let go, you surrender, you allow, and you let things to play out. If you're trying to control them, it's finished. So that's when I went back to the old way of being, let's say, where I was just like the cool guy going out, having fun, making the fun and the night my primary priority. And then from that place, that was like my foundation. That was my fuselage. That was the nucleus of my actions on a night out. And then from there, I could invite girls into my what I call my play bubble. And if they wanted to come in, brilliant. If they don't, it's okay. And I would do that. And suddenly all the pickup paraphernalia dissolved away. There was no approaching. There's no opening. There was no targets. There was no military perception on anything. I was just a cool guy that was just like enjoying himself and actually absorbing women into his reality. And then bingo. Suddenly I was getting girls coming back into my life again. Suddenly I was making connections. There was no control, no strategy. It was just authentic, playful, fun behavior. And that's when I realized actually pickup is what I would say a paradigm. It's like a belief system. It's like trying to find spiritual enlightenment, but only using the doctrines of Scientology. You know, that's kind of how I see it, you know, because pickup is the first generation of seduction that's been articulated into a blueprint that we don't see any different. It's like a fish that's totally immersed in water, doesn't know any different because it's fully immersed in it. So I suddenly realized, actually pickup isn't this open platform for growth with women. It's actually a very limited framework which has core fundamentals and core foundations. And those fundamentals, those presuppositions are acquisition, control, and strategy. And those you cannot avoid in pickup. Even if people say, hey, just be authentic, or hey, just be vulnerable, it's still used as a prerequisite towards getting laid. So it's all a technique for acquiring that outcome. So anyway, I know I'm talking a lot here, but
no, it's cool, man.
I realized I'm in flow because that's why I'm in flow.
Yeah, keep going.
I realized that actually pickup is like a prison. It holds guys down into a level of consciousness, and then what the pickup companies do is they try and sell their products to alleviate the problems and the symptoms that come from the pickup foundations. So you hear these terms a lot, these memes, approach anxiety, even approach, open, targets, closing, all these what I would say military terms. And so let's take one of those, for example, approach anxiety. So you have approach anxiety. Hey, let's go on the street and desensitize our way through it by acting like a clown. Or, hey, you've got approach anxiety. Let's meditate through it. Or, hey, you've got approach anxiety. Let's just talk to 1,000 girls during the day so we don't care anymore. But the problem is these pickup companies are creating the problem by getting guys to come from an acquisition frame of needing to take from a woman in order to feel complete. And so, of course, these guys feel nervous. They feel scared because it's like it's like a survival for the ego at this point. And if they don't get what they're looking for, their neediness increases, and they feel more nervous and more scared next time they go and talk to a woman, right? So the pickup companies create this problem, and then they try and negate the problem by selling them the techniques. So it's the same thing as like building a wasp's nest, and then trying to solve the problem by bashing it with a stick. You know, this is how I see the pickup companies. So what I'm creating now is called social heartistry, and I think it's about time that a new community was formed, and it comes from completely different foundations, completely different fundamentals. So if you look at pickup, the fundamentals, as I said, was acquisition, so taking, control, and strategy. You can't avoid those. Those are the inescapable, inextricable foundations of pickup. For instance, if you were to go out and pick up on a night out and you didn't get laid, that's a failure, isn't it, Sean? Right?
Yeah.
It's a straight up failure. Even if you talk to a girl on a night out and you have a really amazing conversation with her and you feel really good about that, that's a failure because you didn't get your dick wet, in pickup terms. You didn't get the PUA stamp of approval. So everything in pickup is hinged on the acquisition to create this sense of fulfillment. But what I'm doing with my work is I've created completely different foundations. The foundations of my work are, instead of neediness to acquire, is autonomy. Autonomy is, by definition, self-containment in your own actions, non-neediness, being able to go out and be fulfilled despite girls, having a good night without the girls. And then from that place, once you feel autonomous and complete, The next core foundation is giving. So in pickup, it's all about taking and trying to acquire. My philosophy is actually go out there and intentionally give. Not giving as a technique to get laid, because that's no longer giving anymore. That's a strategy to acquire. I'm talking about giving as an intention, as a visceral intention to want to create symbiotically with a woman. And then the third principle, instead of working hard for an outcome, is actually playing, surrendering, letting go, allowing. And so once I combine these three, what I would say the three core principles there together, that actually feels like you're coming from the heart. So no longer am I coming from that almost survival instinct of fear and separation and needing to get something in order to feel full. Once you come from a place of unconditionally giving and feeling full and feeling like you want to share and create with the world and doing it in a playful manner, like the heart of a child, you almost feel like you're coming from your heart. You feel very connected to everything. It's like a holistic integration with everything around you. You no longer see things as objects. You see things as potential, and you start to swim around in this pool of potential around you. And that is almost like love. For me, that's like a feeling of love. So I don't believe that you can achieve success within pickup, because people say to me, "Oh, come on, man. You can, the software's upgrading all the time. The pickup software's upgrading." And I'm like, well, how much deeper into darkness do you need to go to arrive at light? How much deeper into atheism do you need to go to arrive at monotheism? How much deeper into fear do you need to go into arrive at love? It doesn't work that way. It's a complete paradigm shift that you need to make. So a lot of pickup companies, they say, come on, you can keep upgrading the software. It's upgrading all the time, but you can't go deeper and deeper into darkness to arrive at light. You can't go deeper into fear to arrive at love. You can't go deeper into, atheism to arrive at monotheism, because they're not the same. They're different. They're almost the opposites, So my work is actually, instead of going deeper into pickup, I'm creating a new community, almost like a new industry, a new intention, and it's called social heartistry. And so I invite men to step into this, check it out. If you're bored, if you're lost, if you're kind of swimming around in pickup and you don't really know what you're doing, I'm inviting guys to check this out.
Yeah, man, that was a mouthful, but it was enlightening. And like I told you earlier, I think that everyone starts with, the game. You talk to all these big guys who are crushing it and they're really changing the way people do things. It's like, I read the game and then I did this. I read the game. It always starts with the game, and then you go into the pickup stuff. I did the same thing, and I've been doing this for about a year, not nearly as experienced as you, but I find that the more I progress, the more I start to stray away from pickup and into more being genuine and coming from the heart, like you said. And I love that you say coming from the heart, because I love the science behind all this stuff. And I don't know the exact statistic, but I know that like the heart gives off like a 500 times more powerful frequency than the brain. So like feeling wise, and we all give off these frequency and waves and like fields and auras, and the heart is just completely overpowers anything else. And absolutely. So that kind of like, there's a lot to that. And I feel like the more I progressed, and the more I immerse myself in whatever I'm doing, whether it be self-improvement or pickup, I find that I get what I need from the universe at the perfect time. And I stumbled upon you last week, and it kind of put everything together for me that I've been thinking myself, and then I've been learning to be more genuine. And it just hit the nail on the head, like social heartistry. And it was something that actually put it all together, like a phrase that put together what I was thinking, what I was feeling, but I didn't really have a word for it. So I just want to commend you on that, because it's incredible that you've started this whole new field. You're an innovator. And I want to jump back to your story, because it's an incredible story. How old were you when you said you got your heart broken? Oh,
it was probably 6 years ago, I think.
6 years?
6 years ago, yeah.
And you said like you jumped into this pickup stuff and you were just crushing it automatically. So did you just have that type of personality that you didn't care to go up to people? Because most guys would like be so scared to go and palm read a girl at a cafe or something like that.
Well, I think I had a base level of confidence even when I got into pickup, you know. I mean, my self-esteem was shot to bits because of my, you know, girlfriend at the time dumping me. But, you know, I've always been a reasonably confident guy. So what I was doing with my friend, who's actually a coach for a big company in America now, me and him, we used to go out and we became like pickup Robotrons, and we used to go and like set each other harder and harder challenges. So there'd be girls getting into a taxi, and I'd say, go and jump into that taxi with that girl and drive off with them. So he'd go and do that. And then like the next time he says, John, see that couple holding hands in that restaurant over that candlelit dinner? I want you to go in and I want you to seduce the girl in front of the guy. So we were doing like crazy shit, you know, like, you know, asking a policewoman if she'd come back, you know, come back with, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like we thought that was the way to blast through the approach anxiety, plow through. Come on, be a warrior, push through. Come on, be like a robot and just smash through it. But like, that was how I started off doing it. But I found there was such an easier way. The easier way was changing the context, changing the context of an interaction. So here's a really good way of describing this in a metaphor. Let's say you're on the street and you see this beautiful girl and you get the approach anxiety because you're in pickup, and she's walking past you and you're paralyzed and you're like, I want to be talking to her, but I can't. And then this girl, you see she's about to get on a bus and she drops her purse and she doesn't notice it. Suddenly then you run up to her, you give her the purse. Suddenly there was no anxiety there. The hell? You went up to this girl and suddenly all that anxiety had gone because you were giving. There was no need to take anything from her. You had completely cleared your motives. And in that moment, all you had to do was just an unconditional gift of giving this purse to her before she got on the bus. So that's when that kind of metaphor summarizes the transition that I made from acquisition, needing to have an outcome, to freeing myself up from a place of unconditionally giving and creating with the world, like an infinite fountain of giving and creating. And there's no rejection that way, because you can't feel rejection from a gift. You can only feel rejection and loss and blowouts and anxiety if you're going out there looking to acquire and take something and you're unsuccessful in taking. So that was the shift that I made. I was a kind of a confident guy at the beginning, but I did try and use all the pickup paraphernalia to push me through to pick up, God status. But there was such an easier option just waiting for me under my nose the whole time. Yeah,
so it's awesome, and I want to go through each step. So I'm pumped to come back to the giving part, but first, autonomy and fulfillment. You say that, I watched your video online where you show like the pie chart, and a little bit of the chart is missing because that's the girl. And in order to have fulfillment, most people feel like they need to get the girl. But you teach to start with full fulfillment, a full pie chart. So how do you recommend to guys to achieve fulfillment before even going out in their life, to have this mindset?
Okay, well, it's done on a number of different levels. Okay, so the first thing is, when a pickup artist goes out, he is the missing pie, isn't he? Because only when he gets the girl will he feel like that. Yeah, temporarily. So it's the same as if you think about a heroin addict. He is incomplete until he gets his hit of heroin, and then the moment he gets his hit, he's like, I'm autonomous at this moment. I'm balanced. I'm full. I don't need anything, you know? But then a day goes past, 2 days goes past, and he's like, I need something. And he's needy, he needs something. So that's what pickup artists go and do. They're needing the girl in order to feel like this. But my whole thing is, when I go out, my primary priority is to have a good night, have fun, and my fun, my enjoyment, my friends, the music, the entertainment of the night, that is my fulfillment. That's my self-containment. And then from that place, then I can talk to the girls around me, but they're no longer going to affect my night. I'm not identified with those acquisitions anymore. I'm not attached to any outcome with them. It's all coming from a place of overflow now. So if you can think about this, someone that's empty needs to take, and someone that feels full can give. So if you're really enriched by the night and having a great time and you're just dancing and you know, your friends are there, and then the girl's next to you, you're like, hey, how you doing? Even if she just goes like this, you know, you're just rolling off and it's almost like it never happened, you know? But now let's look at the pickup example. The girl's over here. Okay, she's over here. What's my opener? Okay, I'm going to go in with, she looks beautiful. Okay, do you think go direct? Okay, I'm going to do it. Okay. Hi, you look beautiful. Oh, fuck, man. She rejected me. She blew me out. Because in that example, those guys, the pickup artists, have nothing to fall back on. Nothing, because everything rested on that interaction with that girl. It's like sticking all your eggs into one basket. Or in poker terms, it's like going all in, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, when I go out, we should be wanting to create fulfillment first, surely, you know? Isn't that what we go out to have a good night? So once you can come from that place, that is your autonomy. That's like your self-containment. And then the girls are like the bonus. They're the afterthought. They're the kind of, byproduct sounds a bit robotic, but you know, they're kind of like what comes as a side effect of having a good night. That's what autonomy looks like going out. But also the other level to that is we all have a level of we all have a kind of an element of let's say emotional trauma from childhood. We all do. This creates our personality. This creates our persona to a certain degree. And what happens is in society, instead of working on ourselves and going inwards and doing a lot of self-exploration work and inner bonding work to make ourselves feel, you know, contained, we often look outside of ourselves for this fulfillment. So you can look at the way corporate brands work, you know. You don't feel good? Hey, have a Budweiser. You don't feel good? Hey, have a, Coca-Cola. It's the real thing. So we're always encouraged to seek that fulfillment externally. And that's exactly what pickup is. It's basically seeing these girls as like the Coca-Cola or the chocolate bar, or like I said, the heroin addict that needs his hit, you know. But the real autonomy, the real sovereignty work is actually going inwards and being your own loving partner, learning how to love yourself on the inside and creating a relationship with that part of ourselves that we've almost neglected over the years. Okay, so different ways that I encourage this with my students is inner bonding work, which I call it inner bonding work, or just meditation even. So Vipassana meditation is a very powerful technology. And, you know, just being able to just sit on your own, you know, spend an hour, you know, not on Facebook, not on your phone, just in a room by yourself. And sometimes I put a hand over my heart and close my eyes and I'm just spending time with myself and learning how to feel totally comfortable with myself. And then once you can feel comfortable with yourself, you no longer need a woman to make you feel fulfilled anymore. I'm okay as I am, you know? Yeah. But the pickup industry wants to elicit a sense of inadequacy. It elicits that, and then it sells its products to basically bodge that inadequacy. Hey man, feeling you haven't got laid is the quick fix, these guys, because they're feeling so empty and isolated from women. There's a boot camp teaching this, promising this in a weekend. Just pay all their life savings and borrow all the pocket money they've got from their parents, and they'll go and do it. And then within a week of doing it, they realize it's a bloody hoax, and they keep coming back for more, like the heroin addict needs more. What they forget is all you got to do is become comfortable with yourself and autonomous and feel fulfilled without women. And then from that place, you can create with them. You can share with them. You can create sexual encounters with them instead of trying to manipulate and trying to control them into bed.
Yeah, I love it, man. And I've got so many things popping into my head while you were talking there. And, you know, what it reminds me of is a guy who I've learned from the past year is Tyler from RSD. I don't know if you're familiar with his work, but he's very similar to what you teach. He's all about becoming whole. He's very big on meditation. I'm very big on meditation. I think it can really improve someone's life. And he's all about, like he says, being the light out in the club, not needing to seek validation or to seek other people for fun, but you be the source of the fun. You be the sun in the club. You're the sun. And it's incredible. And it's a very subtle shift that's hard to achieve, because a guy might go out and he practices this, he has fun with his friends, and he goes home alone for the first like 3 times, and he might be like, oh, this is fucking bullshit, Yeah. And that's where I find it to be tough, because like you said, like learning to love yourself and meditation is one of the most important things. And I'm like, that's what I teach. I help people like improve their lives and achieve optimal living. And one of the biggest things is to, love yourself and to be on a constant endeavor to improve your life. And that to me is how I reach fulfillment. I've been onto this for a while, and I reach fulfillment by becoming the best version of myself. And if I'm doing everything that I'm doing every day to become the best version of myself, and I'm living my life to my true purpose, I'm always fulfilled. And I don't need a girl to come in to fill me up. But I still find sometimes when I'm in the bars and clubs, like I'm great during the daytime. I'm awesome during the daytime.
Yeah.
I can go up, I can get a beautiful girl's number. I'm pretty consistent at it if she doesn't have a boyfriend. And it's just from practice. But at a club, I still struggle with like the loud music, and I don't really know how to go up because she's got 20 guys surrounding her. I'm not a great dancer yet, and I find it hard to let go. And at the end, at a core level, it's easy to not care and like have fun with your friends. But I do want to get this beautiful girl. I do want her. So like it's hard to let go of that need or that want 100%.
Yeah.
It's very subtle, and I can imagine doing it, but
it's subtle. And I'm not saying detach yourself from women completely. I'm definitely not saying that. So I'm not just saying go and just have a good night and forget about girls.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yeah,
that's a very important aspect to what I'm saying. Okay, because I'm not saying be the monk that sits on top of the mountain hugging a tree and he doesn't need girls anymore, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying that we want to create with women, and it's still important that we bring our masculine energy to the women around us.
And this is probably where the giving kind of overlaps into the autonomy and goes into the giving part. So now let's jump in. You're self-fulfilled. You've been practicing meditation, self-love. Mm-hmm. You've been working on yourself for months, and it's beautiful. And now you go out, and how do you shift from wanting to giving?
Wanting to giving. So let's just, for this context of a night out, let's say we're in a club, okay? That form of giving, let's say, is creating, okay? Because when you create with someone else, it's a form of giving, okay? So I'm in the position of creator when I go out, instead of a parasite that needs to take from girls, okay? So when I go out, this is my little line, little mantra. Sounds simple, but it always comes down to this line. The girl that we're in brackets that we're interested in, or the girls on a night out, are always the secondary priority. I always say this to my students every time, and pretty much the idea of autonomy and giving always comes back to that sentence. It's summarized in that sentence. So the girl is always the secondary priority. So like I said, my night out, my fun, the enjoyment intrinsically is my primary priority. But in that sentence, I do say that girls are the secondary priority. So they are still a priority. I'm still looking to bring my masculine energy to them. I'm just saying that I've built up a foundation first. I've built up a core first, and anything that happens around that is almost absorbed into my reality. So you mentioned the sun a second ago, right? A minute ago. So I use I see that symbolically, metaphorically as well. So if you think about the sun is the most autonomous being in the solar system, right? It's complete. But if you notice, the sun just gives all day long, give. At no point does the sun say, hey, you owe me something now. I want something now. It just keeps on giving unconditionally, right? And if you notice the sun, planets orbit around the sun. Planets are attracted to the sun. And isn't that funny? All the sun does is give. So that's why when I go out, I am like the sun, and I'm giving I'm shining my rays of sunshine at people. And Sean, if I'm shining my rays of sunshine at you, and you go, oh no, and you want to step in the shade, let's say metaphorically, that's fine. The sun isn't going to go, oh bloody hell, I'm rejected now, I can't do this anymore. But if I shine my ray of sunshine at someone else and they want to get a suntan, great. I don't care. It's good. It's good either way. I don't mind. It's not going to affect this infinite flow of giving that I've got. Okay. So when I go out, and let's say you mentioned in the club, I'm creating my own sun energy, or I'm creating my own play bubble, and I'm doing that, and I'm moving around, and I'm focused on the radius around me. So if you can imagine, I've got a bubble around me. This is my atmosphere. So if me and you are in this bubble, then now we're like this now, and with the bubbles including you, and we're enjoying ourselves in this bubble. And then when we see a girl coming close to us, which they will, because this is attractive now, we just open up the bubble to her, which could be just saying, "Hey, how are you?" or just touching her on this, and bringing her into the bubble. If she doesn't want to come into it, we just pop. We pop back into what we're already doing. Okay, so we haven't lost anything, have we? We haven't lost the bubble now, because it's still there. It's still there. So the difference that in pickup is, I don't have my bubble. I'm not fulfilled. Where's my target? Where's my target? And they have a face like this, and they've got a beer held to their chest, and they're standing at the bar looking like a lighthouse for their target. Okay, go and cold approach that girl over there. I mean, that's impossible. I couldn't talk to a girl if I had to do that, because it's like everything rests on that girl that I'm going to go and approach.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's about whipping up. I mean, my friend said it's like a tornado. He says, we're having so much fun. It's like a vortex, like a vortex.
Yeah.
It draws stuff into it, But if you don't create an atmosphere yourselves, if you don't create any level of fun or activity, then you're always going to see the fulfillment outside yourself, Another way of describing this is, let's say you're a cocktail barman, Sean, yeah? Let's say you're a cocktail barman, and there's loads of girls come into your bar. Now, you can flirt with those girls, right? And you can be really sexual if you want, but you're never going to get rejected. You can't be rejected. Why?
Because they need something from you. They need drinks.
They need something from you in a way. You can't feel rejected because you're always going to go back to serving drinks again.
Yeah.
You can never feel rejected because that is your autonomy. A performer on stage. Let's take the performer on stage, okay? I'm going to use my glue here. I'm singing on stage. I'm a performer on stage. I'm Bruce Springsteen. And then I'm in Wembley Arena, and I see a beautiful girl right at the front of the stage. I go and I put my hand down to her like that. Hey, I'm like, hey. And she pushes my hand away. I'm not suddenly going to go, that's it, fuck it, I'm off. I'm not performing anymore. I'm rejected. I mean, would Bruce Springsteen in that moment be rejected?
No.
But hang on a minute. If you break that down and look at that through the pickup goggles, that is, I'm here, beautiful girl there, I'm approaching her. Notice how everything changes when you change the context. So on a night out, what I'm saying is be the cocktail barman, be the performer on stage that can, is never going to, he's always going to go back to playing his music. If you can imagine Mozart playing in a playing in a concert, he's playing he's just giving his art, he's giving his music to the whole audience. And then the girl at the back of the room, she walks out of the concert hall. He's not going to slam his piano lid down and storm off. Oh, I was rejected. He just keeps giving. He's autonomous. He's completely fulfilled in his actions intrinsically. So that's what I do when I go out. There's no targets. There's no approaching. There's no opening. I'm creating my own reality. I'm creating my own atmosphere. And I use the word invitation. I use the word invite when I talk to girls. I'm not even really thinking, but if I had to describe it, that's the semantic explanation of my feeling in that moment. It's like, hey, want to come into this play bubble? Invitation. Hey, want to come and join the party over here? Welcoming in. If they don't want to come into it, I'm carrying on, unaffected.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. And what I really got from that is that it's all about creating an atmosphere, right? Like, and that can be difficult in itself for a lot of guys. And like, it reminds me of Tyler from RSD in how he says that before you go out and start approaching anyone, you should go out and learn to have fun. Just go out and dance and not give a shit and learn to have fun, because I think that a lot of guys don't know how to go out and have fun because they're self-conscious. They think people are going to laugh at them for dancing. And trust me, I have been like this my whole life. So I know, and I'm getting better and better. But it's part of the reason why I'm all about day game and I struggle at night, because I do have trouble letting go and just being in my own fun bubble and not giving a shit about like anything, because I'm very introverted. I'm a thinker. I think a lot. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure you have students like this all the time.
Oh, of course.
What do you recommend to them?
Right. Okay. Well, let's just go back over what you just said, because you just hit on some really important concepts here that we can really examine. Now, you said it's hard to let go, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to let go. Now, you'll often find a lot of these day gamers, they can't. You put them into a club and they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah. No, I'm one of them.
What the hell they're doing? they're trying to almost apply day game like techniques to a club, you know, and it doesn't work that way. Now, on day gamers and people that go out during the day to pick up, you know, game is a form of is another word for picking up. Okay, they are what I would say in a work frame, okay, or a strategy frame. So a work by definition is something that you do. It's rewarded upon completion. That's what work is. So you work all week for a weekend. You work all year for a holiday. You bust your ass off at school for a qualification. That's a form of working, isn't it? Like you get the prize once you've worked for it. And that's what pickup is. That's what game is. It's like only when you get the number or the validation or the acceptance have you got the prize. Okay? So it creates a duality. It always creates a duality of win or lose. Every interaction, win or lose, win or lose. Hey, I got a number, high five. No, I got rejected, lose. Hey, I'm talking to this girl, it's going really well. Okay, I'm winning. Oh, and then now she's going off. Oh, lose. So it's always creating that duality, or what I would call a seesaw of doom. Okay? But there's a completely different context to change that. And that's my third principle I mentioned earlier, and that is playing. Play. It's one of the most powerful, principles and contexts you can come from. So play is different to work. The definition of play is moment by moment gratification. Okay? Work is deferred gratification, as in working towards a prize, and then we're going to feel, rewarded. Play is expressed and enjoyed in every single stage, every single step. Okay, you're free from outcome, you're free from expectation, and you're just reveling in the chaos. You're reveling in the quantum flow of everything, and you're bringing your creativity, you're bringing your right brain, your kind of improvisation skills, and all your creative potential into that moment, like the heart of a child would. That's what you're doing. And from that place, if you're playing and you're having fun, then whatever happens with this girl, you didn't lose because you were already winning. You were already winning by the play that you'd created. And so you're right. Guys have to know how to have fun, because if you cannot have fun, if you're not playing with a woman, then you'll never be good with women, because you don't work for women. Okay, you work for a wage. You work for a good body in the gym, but you don't work for a woman, and that's why the term player, it's not worker, and they say he's a player.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
It's not, he's a worker, he's a player, because the guys that are best with women are the ones that can have fun and actually bring girls into the fun and have fun with them. But if you're not having fun, then everything else is part of a work frame. So that's the difference. Just allowing yourself to let go, still bringing your masculine energy to these girls, but at the same time, just allowing things to just play out, and that's the key.
Yeah. And I 100% agree. And I think for guys, it's not gonna happen on the first night. It's almost like a practice. You're gonna have to go out and work at letting go, not caring. And I'd love to get a show just on that topic, someone just about like being able to let go of everything. And I don't know if you have any tips specifically for doing that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, the way you explain that actually created a little bit of a paradox, if you notice, because you said guys are going to have to go out there and work at it.
Yeah, you're right, man. See, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. So notice how like even that creates a paradox, because it's like I want to play, but I have to work at it.
Yeah,
so it's like I'm putting play into a work frame again. Do you know what I mean? So it's the same thing as when you said, in order to get the girl, you have to have fun first. So even that's a paradox, because it's saying work at having fun and then you're going to have that outcome. So that's no longer autonomous anymore. That's actually using fun as a prerequisite, as an arbitrary technique to fast track yourself closer to getting laid. So if you actually examine that carefully, that's actually still a form of pickup. And that's actually still flawed, in my opinion. You've got to be able to go out there and just have fun, let go, play, without any kind of attachment whatsoever. It's about losing the attachment. And that's very hard, because
it's hard.
We've been so attached to the idea of getting these girls that we go, well, there must be a way to get them if I do something. But someone said, be detached. Let's try be detached. Oh, I'm still not getting laid. Someone said giving value. I'm giving, but I'm not getting laid. But they're trying to plug those principles into pickup. They're trying to plug those techniques into a work frame. Doesn't work that way. You've literally got to go out and just let go, play, and not worry about anything around you. Not worry about what comes back to you. Not worrying about, will this get me sex? No. What will happen if I do this? No. Just literally find the fun and enjoyment in that moment. Return back to being in the heart of a child again. Think about a child when he's playing in a cardboard box when he's young. I mean, how much effort was that? How much anxiety was there playing in a box? No, it's just, and look how creative that child is. That child was an astronaut. He was, you know what I mean? He was building like the Enterprise with that cardboard box. He was almost creating like, his own realities from that cardboard box. And he was in a state of play. He was in a state of growth. There was no limits to his play. But as soon as we step into a work frame, it's fear. We bring in fear, and we bring in separation. We bring in control. We bring in strategy, and then we paralyze ourselves. Because that's what expectation does. I've got another line here for guys. It's expectation creates hesitation. So as soon as we hesitate, that's normally because we have this expectation to get something. So if you can imagine, we're on the street and we see this beautiful girl, we start hesitating. That's because we have this expectation. We have this attachment to outcome with her.
Yeah.
So we can remove the hesitation by just losing the expectation.
Yeah, I understand it. It's just very hard to put into words, but I get it, and I could feel it. I could feel it, and I understand it, and I think the listeners will agree with me. Like, they can feel it as well. Like, it's sort of like an underlying feeling, and it's just a freedom. And one thing for me that I just recently read a book, The Way of the Superior Man, which is like all about fully giving your gifts to the world, like without expecting anything in return, and without hesitation or caring what anyone thinks. And that coincides with this. So I think the most important thing for me is just to be a daily giver, and always giver, like without ever expecting anything in return, and working on yourself constantly. So you are you, and you share your gifts with the world, and you don't need anything back. But that is what everyone comes to, like the sun. That's what people are attracted to. And it's so subtle, but it's almost impossible to put into words, but it just is. It
is hard to put into words, because it's like a feeling.
It's a feeling, and I feel it.
It's a complete feeling. It's like, I call it a higher vibration, and actually that scares a lot of guys off because it sounds a bit hippie, But it almost feels like, if you can imagine fear and pick up as like a low vibration, almost like a hum, like a hum. It's like when you move it up into the heart and you kind of come from this higher vibration, it's almost like a higher pitch. It's a lightness. It's a freeness. It's like a life energy that's passing through you, And
it's all real. It's all proven to be real stuff, as like woo woo as it sounds. This is real stuff. Everyone gives off vibrations. Everyone gives off auras. I've watched experiments where they put nodes into yogurt with living bacteria, and when they mention stress or work to a guy who's 5 feet away, the yogurt's stress levels go crazy because they can feel his stress. They feel his vibes. And then when they mention love and like remind him of a happy memory in his childhood, the yogurt's stress levels go all the way down.
Yeah.
and he's not touching the yogurt. It's just his vibes. And it's real stuff. So
it is.
I think anyone who's interested in this and what you're talking about could really benefit from, like, you know, just getting into meditation, getting into self-exploration, because like that's the biggest like self-improvement thing that has helped me more than anything.
Absolutely. You know, and I would encourage people to you know, start moving from self-help to self-exploration, I would say, because I almost find that self-help, and you know, going to the self-help section in libraries and in bookshops, it's the resonance of self-help is almost like emptiness, isn't it? I need help. Let me read, get some help. But really, we have all the keys inside of ourselves. We have all the wisdom inside ourselves, and we have always access to that all the time. But we always look outside of ourselves. If I read that book, then I might get the help. Then I'm going to get the help. Just at some point, just go, right, I'm going to take responsibility here, and just going inwards and just listening to ourselves and being with ourselves. And often that is all that we need. That's our way of finding balance.
Yeah, man.
So, and then once we feel like that, then we can go out into the world and be of service to the world. Then we can go out and start to create and be the magician that actually starts to bring people closer together, starts to transmute and dissolve fear into love. You know, because the world, as far as I'm concerned, the world is in turmoil right now, and it's all an expression of the damaged child collectively that we're all sharing. You know, the whole populace, the whole population is literally in the adolescence of needing to consume in order to feel balanced and feel okay. But if we can all collectively, you know, go inwards and heal ourselves, then we can all actually act as glue to bring ourselves back together again and bring us back to oneness. And bring us back into a true community, not a society which is like dog eat dog, separating, don't make eye contact, fight against each other, wars, famine, you know, pillaging. It's about collectively bring us back to one consciousness, one way of being, where we can all share and give and not take from each other. And that is actually metaphorically a movement from fear into the heart, as far as I'm concerned. And that's what, going back full circle, that is basically what social heartistry is about in a nutshell.
Yeah, man, that was that was beautiful. You know, I mean, like, I feel like I had, you know, almost have to end it there because it was on such a note, you know, like. But I do have a couple more questions that I wanted to ask you. So during the nighttime, I watched the video of you where you went up and you made out with three girls in a row. You know, the three blondes.
Yeah.
And like, things like this, you know, I see you and your videos on building momentum in the night. So essentially you don't have anything like scripted, any lines per se, or things that work more than other things when you're going up to a girl in a bar or anything like that. Is that like not even it's not that I'm not focusing on anything. It's that I don't have a strategy. That's the key. I operate from principles, not strategies. So I have certain principles that I abide by, and I can break it all down into these principles. Yeah, I'd love to hear that. As I mentioned before, I mentioned 3. So these are the core principles that I abide by, and that is giving, autonomy, and play. Those are the 3 like keystone ones. But then also there's like another principle of projecting desire or intent, or however you want to call it. Okay. So I don't want to give all my principles away because I have to leave some kind of mystery, but yeah, man. Yeah. So when I'm going up to a girl, I'm always embodying these principles, almost like if you can imagine boiling them all down into a cauldron, you know, or like bringing them all into one way of being. And then I bring that to a girl. So if you can imagine someone that's playing, he's autonomous, he doesn't need anything. He's giving, he's creating with this girl, and he's also projecting his desire, plus also taking masculine action and leading her around. That is all a form of being. That's a form of my attitude when I'm out. And it's like all the pickup paraphernalia, all the strategy just gets melted away, and it's all just brought back into one action, one attitude, and one energy, one vibration. And I just bring that to the women around me. And I don't have any lines. I'm just totally unprepared. Like I'll go with what I see around me. You know, she's
she's looking a bit bored. So the first thing I might say is, hey, you look bored, or hey, let me cheer you up, or hey, if your boyfriend's 10 more minutes coming out the toilet, I'm taking you for a drink now. Like, but that's all just like completely in the moment. I'm just flowing with my environment. And when you're in a state of play, the words will just come. The words will come, because that's what the right brain does. Like, if you know about the two hemispheres of the brain, even like the left brain is all to do with like maths, science, formulas, algorithms, data, formulas. But the right brain is like the holistic side of your brain. It's like creativity, poetry, art, holistic ideas. So when I'm playing, play is a way to move it from left brain to right brain. So pickup is left brain, but like the right brain is actually, it's like the heart. It's like actions from the heart, where you're creating from a sense of fun and playing, and you're just using what's around you like a child would. And that's what I do. So I'm not operating from must do this, must use this opener, then I transition, then I drop a statement, then I roll off, and no. I'm just completely in flux. I'm in flow. I'm playing. I'm creating. And for me, that's like that's a level of mastery, if you like, when you can take everything you've learned, like I said earlier, put it in a box, put it to one side, and just be you.
So yeah. So it makes sense to me now. Like, because you spent so many years learning this stuff. Because pickup as some would say as not fantastic as it is, it does work at times. So the seduction, the touching at the right time, and like the right things to say and portraying, it does work. So encompassing those skills that you learned over like 3 years or 6, however many years, being able to put them in a box and let go and just flow, and like then let it all flow out of you. Like, it's almost like me playing soccer. No, you have to train, you have to learn the rules, you have to do this. And then when you're having fun and you're just playing, you're flowing. It's when you're like, you'll do an amazing move, and like you'll just score an amazing goal, and it's just happening. So do you think that guys would at all benefit from learning like seduction techniques and like things like this?
Okay, so really, it's a great question. It's one that I always get asked. And what I would say is, this is the key point that needs to get mentioned. There's a difference between pickup and seduction. Yeah. And most guys don't realize that. But the day that you realize that there's a difference between pickup and seduction is when the whole game opens up. Okay. So people have to realize that going up to a woman and talking to a woman, that's not pickup. Even if you go up and seduce this woman, that's not pickup. You see, pickup almost claims to have the trademark on taking masculine action with a girl. It's almost like saying, like I said earlier, Christianity has the trademark on spiritual growth, or a believer in a god. It doesn't. It's just one map. It's just one doctrine. So yes, there are some things that are good in pickup. I'm not saying the whole thing's crap.
It's almost a science of seduction, because seduction is a science. It doesn't have to be pickup. You can be doing something naturally, but like you're doing it the right way.
Yeah, but what I would say is, there's a thing called post hoc fallacy. So you can go on Wikipedia, if people watching this can have a look at it. Post hoc fallacy, and it's the idea that I did event A, so event A happened, then event B happened, so therefore event A was the cause of event B. So for instance, I had hiccups, so I stood on my head, and 30 seconds later my hiccups went. Or I had a cough, and I drank whiskey and honey, and my sore throat went. I wore my lucky pants, and my football team won. And then, of course, if I did pick up, and it worked. Yeah. So people think that like it was the pickup that made them connected with this girl, but it wasn't pickup that worked. It was the fact that you just took masculine action in that moment, and actually there was probably other things that were making it work, as opposed to the pickup. You know what I mean? So so that's the kind of the trap that guys are in at the moment. That's the predicament they're in.
And I think you go. You finish your point.
Well, they think that because they're doing pickup means that that's the reason why they're in bed with a girl. but it's not. It's not really true, you know. It's because they're thinking, oh, I did this technique, then I did this, then I did this, then I touched her here, then I moved her to here, and then she's in my bed. Pickup is great, but like a guy that just takes masculine action with a girl and is just operating from core principles, then coming from the heart, that's not pickup, you know. And he's still having sexual connections with women, but like, because, as I said earlier, because pickup is the first generation of seduction to be articulated, that guys don't know there's anything else. You know, they have nothing else to step into.
Yeah.
Of course, they see talking to a woman as pickup. You know, so that's kind of like the trap that guys are in at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have some like a story that I think will just make it all come together and wrap up and make sense, because it really popped into my head when you said that. Like, yeah, you can go up and use pickup and you can get laid, you know, but it doesn't mean like it's nearly the best thing or authentic or going to give you a real connection, like you said. But I have a friend who has a girlfriend. I'm not going to name his name, but this guy does not think or know how good he is with women. Like, he goes out with us and like you can see me and my friend trying to get women, and he is just having a great time because his girlfriend's not there. He's not trying to get any girl. He's dancing, he's spinning girls, he's twirling them. Every girl wants him. He's like a normal looking guy, but he just portrays that energy that you were talking about without trying, because he's not trying. Yeah. And that will, you know, that is everything, really, you know. It's, you don't need the pickup, the tricks and everything, because he doesn't even know what he's doing, but every single girl wants him because he's in his bubble. He's having an incredible time, and there is zero outcome dependency from him because he has a girlfriend and he doesn't even know he's doing it. Exactly. And like, me and my friend look at him, we're like, oh, fuck you, man. Like you don't know how good you are with women. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, and it's beautiful to watch, and that's what I aspire to be like, and I think that's what you teach, and it's awesome. And to wrap it all up, because I really think this puts the icing on the cake and brings it all together, I just wanted to touch upon that concept of osmosis that you talked about in your video of building momentum. You know what I'm talking about, right?
You'll have to tell me about my own video because I can't remember.
Yeah, you had the video where you show your whole night from start to finish and how important it is to build momentum. But during that video, you talk to this one girl. That's actually the video where you make out with 3 Norwegian girls in a row, and I'll link to that in the show notes. But in this video, you're talking to one girl at the bar, and she's really digging it, and she says, oh, I'm going to be over there with my friends, you know, if you want to come by and say hello later. And then you turn to the camera and you start talking about the scientific theory of osmosis. And I'm all about when you can bring science into it, because at the base level, we're all pretty much just organisms. And osmosis is when it's the phenomenon of lower concentration of molecules will always permeate towards the larger concentration of molecules past the membrane. You know, it's kind of scientific, but in our sense, you can see the girls as one concentration of molecules and you as the other. And in this video, you say, you know, I can spend the rest of my night now thinking about when to go over to her and say hello to her friends and doing all this, or I can just continue with my night because my purpose is bigger. You know, I'm here to have a great time. I'm here to have fun and meet people. And by doing that, you're becoming the larger concentration of molecules, and you're not the smaller concentration of molecules like most guys are, who are naturally permeating to and moving towards girls. So by having this larger purpose during the night and not really caring about this one girl, and if you bump into her later, naturally, then it's great, and just going on with your night, you're naturally that larger concentration of molecules, as weird as it sounds. And this is exactly what my buddy does, because he dances with all the girls and they have a great time, and then he moves on. He doesn't think about them twice, and they can feel it. They can feel it, and they are instantly permeated and attracted towards you. I love it. It's like such a cool theory, and it made so much sense to me.
Be the flame, not the moth. And you can still walk up to girls, but it's no longer an approach. It's even though you're walking up to her, she's still being drawn into you. And I think if you can embody that, then you've got it.
Yeah, it's like when you go to Best Buy to buy a TV, you go up to the TV and the salesman to learn about the TV, but you're not selling yourself.
No.
You know, you can still approach without being needy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love it, man. And this might have blown some people's minds. It might have made some people really confused and because it's intense stuff. But
it is. It's a paradigm shift, I call it. It's a complete. It's like going from flat Earth to round Earth theory, you know?
Yeah, and we hit the hour like right on the mark because we started 7 minutes just chatting, and this has been awesome. So I'm so grateful for you to come on here and share your wisdom with everyone. And if anyone wants to learn more and likes what you do, where can they find you? What's the first step?
Okay, so the first step I'd say is join my Facebook community group. It's a closed group, so you can just come in there and if you still have a little bit of hesitancy about the idea of seducing women or whatever, or even if you feel really good about it, it's for everyone. It's for men and women, and it's facebook.com/groups/The John Cooper. So come in there. We all help each other out. We all post up videos about the stuff we've been up to, and we support each other. So that's the thing that I'd say to get contact with me. Also my website, thejohncooper.net, and what else? I'm drawing a blank, but I think that's all. I think that's pretty much all you need. If you really like what I've been saying and it resonates with you, resonate as in like we're feeling the feeling, then hit me up. And I'm available for coaching. I've got a book coming out next month, around the idea of social heartistry. And, my whole thing is I'm creating a new community here. I'm creating a new community of heart-centered action. It's no longer seeing women as targets. It's no longer seeing women in field, like on a battlefield. It's seeing everyone as equal. And we're just giving and receiving. And it's a much better way that way.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful, and you're changing the world. I love it.
Trying to, yeah.
That's all it takes, man. Wow, guys, this has been an awesome and mind-expanding podcast. My last-minute takeaways are to just start shifting your need for women and outside influences to fulfill you, and start learning to fulfill yourself and being fine without the need for validation, and to forget about outcome dependence in life and women, and just enjoy giving your gifts freely and be comfortable with who you are. And then only then will you truly be free. And I know from seeing it that this is a level that you can truly get any girl. I do agree with John. Pickup artist stuff can certainly get you girls, but it will never get you the kind of girls that this can. I've seen it in my friends who do it by accident because they have been in relationships for years. I've seen it in John, and I've seen it in guys like Tyler from RSD. And when you can be this kind of guy, you're going to create actual connections and be giving true value to this girl and be like no one she has ever seen. And I too am still on the path to achieving this. So if you're not there and you're not even close, it's okay. It's very, very hard. It's essentially the trying to not try paradigm. It's the not giving a fuck paradigm, because if you're trying to not give a fuck, then you still give a fuck. So how do you do it? But you can get there. And I think for me, the way to get there is through continued self-exploration. You're not going to be able to just go out this weekend and be like, oh, well, I heard that I'm not supposed to care, so fuck it, who cares? And dance your ass off and release that need if you're normally a guy who can't let go. But instead, just keep looking inward and keep working on fulfillment daily. Meditate, self-explore, and eventually you can and you will get there. It's not an overnight thing, but losing that attachment is freeing, and learning to give freely without the need or expectation from anything, and just learning to be the fun. Pull the fun from within you and not go out and seek it, and truly be the sun is what will gravitate people, opportunities, an incredible life, and yes, beautiful women towards you. So just go out there, let go of need, give your gifts and your love freely without needing or expecting anything in return, and live the most amazing life you can.